Good morning. Caden, Paige, Michael, John, Sadie, Cody, Patrick, Zachary, Chloe, Kira, Ace, Logan, Halen, Kellen, Dominic, Spencer, Victoria, Araylin, RJ, Reed, Olivia, William, Jenna, and Nevaeh. I'm going to do something different today, and from now on we're going to do something a little different. On Wednesdays, which Miss Burke missed because she was out visiting you guys yesterday, we usually do algebra. Well, I thought, algebra is great and all, but I think we need to do some science too. So, from now on, every Wednesday, we're going to have a science video, okay? Today, that's why it says Algebra Wednesday, not today, okay? This Miss Burke drew, and it's supposed to be Earth. Did you know that when people or astronauts went into outer space, they look back and they call Earth the big blue marble? Why do you suppose Earth is called the big blue marble? Now, in case you can't tell from the picture, there's all this blue, and that's water. And then we have some green here and some islands, and those are land. Now, I know that all land is not green, but it was just handier for Miss Burke if I could just show you the two main kinds, okay? We have water and land. And you have a lot of white too because, well, we do have clouds. Okay, now, I'm going to tell you why Earth is called the big blue marble, but not until next week. I'm going to see if you guys can figure this out. All right, so when we're talking about the Earth, because Earth Day was yesterday, and we kind of celebrate Earth, we can break it up into something called ecosystems. Ecosystems are just different areas of the Earth that different plants and animals live in. So we may live in one ecosystem and someone else may live in a different ecosystem. So I wrote down some ecosystems here, and we're going to talk each week about the different ecosystems. Okay? So there are forests, there are what's called grasslands, deserts, tundras, water ecosystems, or aquatic. Everyone say that, aquatic. Aqua just means water. So when they say aquatic ecosystem, it's a water ecosystem. And then we have mountains, okay? Now, I thought the first ecosystem we should talk about is the desert, because we live in a desert. Okay, now, what I've done here, I've made an arrow, and I've got two things here. It says cold desert, hot desert. Now, there are two, like it says, two kinds of deserts that you can live in. You can live in a cold desert or a hot desert. Well, first, I want to talk about what makes a desert, okay? A desert is, land is called a desert if you don't have that much precipitation. And precipitation, what do you think that means? Precipitation, I have to do this. Precipitation, okay? What do you think precipitation means? Now, if you're saying precipitation means water, it's basically right. Now, water can come to the earth in many forms, like we used to do with calendar, right? Yeah, we would have rain, snow. And we can also have something called sleet or hail, which is kind of in between those, okay? So if a desert is a place that doesn't get much of that, there are many places like that on the planet. And we live in one, and other people live in different ones. What kind of desert do you suppose we here in Fernley live in? A hot desert or a cold desert? I bet a lot of you are saying hot desert, but I'm sure some of you are saying cold. If you said hot, no. But if you say cold, good job. Okay, we live in a cold desert because in the winter it gets cold. We do get snow. Now, if you go to what's called the Mojave Desert or the Sahara Desert in Africa, they don't get snow. No, it's hot all the time. Okay? Now, because they're hot all the time, they have different plants than us. We can get trees here, and we get some seasons in the cold desert. And trees change. In the hot desert, they have even less moisture or water than we get because it all, what's called evaporates, goes back up into the clouds. Now, because of that, they have different plants. And one of the most famous plants you would find in the Southwest Desert, like in Arizona and Southern California, are cactuses. Okay? You guys all know what a cactus is? Sometimes we see them, they're green and they're pokey and they got some arms on them. Yeah. So those store water inside them so that they can keep growing throughout the year. Now I want to tell you about one of the most famous deserts that no one thinks is a desert. Have you ever heard of the North Pole? Yeah, a lot of you have. Well, there's a place called the South Pole. The North Pole's on the top of the planet. The South Pole's on the bottom. Yes, penguins live there. You're right. Well, with the South Pole, it's in a continent, an area called Antarctica. Okay, the North Pole is the Arctic, but on the South Pole, it's Antarctica. Antarctica. Ooh, penguins live there. Ooh, brr. It is a desert. You may see, when you look up pictures of Antarctica, it's covered in white. Yeah, and you're thinking, why is that a desert if it's covered in snow? Well, it doesn't get much precipitation, okay? So, Antarctica. But it doesn't get much precipitation, but it's still covered in snow. Because it's so cold, what little precipitation it gets, what little bit of rain it gets, it doesn't melt, okay? It doesn't melt. That's why when you see pictures of Antarctica, it's covered in white, but it's still a desert. It's not a desert like we live in. It's not a desert like Las Vegas and Phoenix, Arizona are, but it's still a desert. All right, next week, we're going to do a little experiment, and we're going to learn about forests. Miss Brick is from Montana. We have a lot of forests. If you go up to Tahoe, they have forests. We're going to learn about different kinds of forests. I want you to all have a great, great day. And I'll see you in a little bit with our next video because Miss Brick's doubling up today.